Welcome back to our Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news, plus Mikel Arteta's press conference reaction. The gaffer has been speaking to the media ahead of our game versus Crystal Palace, and he's talked about a couple of things, but majorly those transfers about Jalen Timber. He says Arsenal are back in the market. We're trying to do whatever we can in order to adapt to the situation. We have a few in-house solutions. That is Kieran Tierney, that is a couple of other players as well. But we will be looking at the outside market to see if we can get some players in. João Cancelo and Pavard, as we woke up in the morning, they're the two players leading the race to join Arsenal this summer. Pavard is wanted by Manchester United. I think Liverpool have also looked at him as an option, but Man United have been a very, very strong contender to sign Benjamin Pavard from Bayern Munich. If Arsenal can get that one done, that will be a very, very good one. João Cancelo as well, I've already told you, experience, Premier League proven as well. He's worked under Pep Guardiola and is one of the very exciting fullbacks in the world, to be honest, right? Hit the like button. Let's get this one to 500 likes and let me know in the comment box below, between Pavard and João Cancelo, where should Arsenal be placing their money? Which one is the safer bet? Which one is the safer gamble to go for? Both of them kind of experienced, to be honest. So there is no one. I don't expect you to go, oh, Pavard is experienced and João Cancelo is not, or Cancelo is experienced and Pavard is not. Both of them are really, really highly experienced defenders, and they could add something special to the club if we actually got them through the door. So let's get into Mikel Arteta's press conference reaction. First and foremost, the manager was asked about Jalen Timber. Of course, he was going to be asked about Timber's injury, and he says it is a blow, especially having him just joined the club to have the first injury. That is going to have a huge disappointment for him. Obviously, for the team, it's a big blow because we recruited him with clear intentions, and what he's bringing to the team was evident, and is going to be, and is not going to be able to give us that this season. He says we have to adapt. Things happen, unfortunately, and we have to move on. So there is nothing to do. Mikel is still on Timber's injury. He says he's been a very, very good player, by the way, since joining. To be honest, he's a special character. He knows, and I think he started to realize the extent of the injury and the amount of time he's going to be out for. But he is in a good place. We are all willing to help him, and we are all very, very close to him. But it is going to be a very, very long journey. So that is Mikel Arteta on Jalen Timber. Special character. One player that actually Arsenal recruited, knowing the ability and what it's going to bring to the side. But Mikel says, too bad. It's going to be a long journey. It's going to take some time for him to come back. Now, I've done more research on those injuries. And although Arsenal really are not giving us a timeline, we are hearing season over. We are hearing 6 to 7 months minimum before he can actually do some slight things. 10 months. Before he can actually start doing some, work alone, and then about 12 months for him to be fully back integrated into the side. It's a bad one. It's a very, very bad one, because he's one of those players that had just proven vital, and he had just given Mikel Arteta a selection headache, to an extent that Mikel decided to drop Gabriel Magalhaes in the recent game against Nottingham Forest. That was one of the things that Mikel had not done in the last 2 seasons, to drop Gabriel because of anything apart from an injury maybe, but Gabriel has been very key and very consistent. But Timber, we all wish him a quick recovery at the moment. And Mikel also says that we are looking at options, so that is another positive thing. We are not going to be stagnant. We're not going to be fixated on one point, on one thing. We are actually moving on. We are looking to adapt. And maybe the transfers I've just talked about in the introduction of this video, Benjamin Pavard and João Cancelo, could actually be a very, very good move after all. Mikel Arteta, on whether it changes his attitude on the transfer market, he says, I am more thinking about the resources that we have within the team to keep doing what we want to do. It's true that he was giving us something different and very, very different things in terms of what we could do on both sides. But again, things happen in this nature. We have to be prepared for that. That is football, and it actually happens with all those atrocities. Okay, so Mikel there says he wants to use the best he can for the squad. If the squad can actually provide that kind of depth, then he's actually going to be using that as well. Okay, Mikel Arteta, on whether this injury, creates some kind of optimism, an opportunity for Kieran Tierney. It says it is an opportunity for everybody. We are trying to do, what we're trying to do is we're going to need everybody, and everybody is going to be important. The numbers that we have in the squad, especially in those positions, are more limited now. So everybody has to be ready. And Mikel Arteta also says, still on Kieran Tierney, is that, well, he played in the Community Shield, and that means, so if a player plays in the Community Shield, if a player plays 5 days before in a final, he is part of the plans for sure. Okay. Well, according to what is coming out, I don't think Mikel is being entirely open with the situation on Kieran Tierney. I think Tierney will leave. Newcastle have been trying to sign him, but it looks more like they will sign Lewis Hall from Chelsea. Chelsea are damn good at selling. They are damn good at getting those deals done in terms of player sales, right? They're gonna pay 35 million for Lewis Hall, and they won't pay 35 million for Kieran Tierney. Very, very interesting. Yet Kieran Tierney has that experience that he could add to the team. But what you have to think about on that statement with Kieran Tierney is Mikel Arteta says that he's part of the plans. That is number one, and Timber getting injured is an opportunity, or presents an opportunity to so many players out there. Now, I called it and I said, watch out, Jakub Kiwior is going to be an important player for Arsenal this season. And for me, starting this weekend, I'm going to predict him in every starting 11 until Mikel Arteta will start using him. Now, many of you might not actually compare him to to Jalen Timber, and probably Jakub Kiwior doesn't compare to Timber in so many ways, but I think we can still achieve as many as the results that we were getting when Timber is on the pitch. A few things will actually drop. A few things will change. But inverting with the Partey on the right hand side, that can stay. Declan Rice having that freedom to go further forward, because Jakub Kiwior is more like a centre back, that can stay as well. So there's so many things we'll accomplish with Jakub Kiwior. But I agree with Mikel. This is an opportunity for one more player to actually shine. Timber did shine and is now injured. Can we get another hero in this season? Zinchenko was very good last campaign. He could be having a second consecutive brilliant campaign, and there are advantages for Zinchenko playing in that role, like I'm going to do in my next video. So make sure you watch that, how Arsenal will line up without Jalen Timber, and how Alexander Zinchenko plus Declan Rice make Arsenal much better than we were last campaign. Yeah, I just did it. Okay, Mikel Arteta still on a few of the points that he was asked about. On what David Raya brings to the squad, Mikel Arteta says better qualities for our game model. It is very simple. We want 2 players per position that can actually do that. And you saw what happened to Jorian. It can happen to our goalkeeper. It can happen to anyone. It happened to Thibaut Courtois at Real Madrid. You need to be prepared, because the question will be, what is it? 2 goalkeepers of this size, and if Aaron was to sustain a cruciate injury, and then what do you do? What do you say? Then you have to change everything. So we have to be prepared. We have to be proactive, and we have to have 2 excellent goalkeepers now that they are fit. Exactly what we want to do in our model. So I'm very happy with those 2. On whether there is a number 1 in terms of goalkeeping, Mikel says in any position, no. Whether it's the number 9, whether it's the number 7, whether it's 11, whether 6, goalkeeper or not, there is no number 1 in any position. So Mikel Arteta on the battle. I'm actually going to be providing a video on my thoughts for the battle. Again, don't miss that. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. Just don't miss it, okay? Don't miss it. But I kind of agree with Mikel. Like, injuries are going to become more prominent, and teams are going to have to be a little bit more proactive than reactive. When you think about Thibaut Courtois, like, how did it happen? Like, Thibaut Courtois, this guy is not tackling anyone. He's not actually intercepting or doing that. But Thibaut Courtois is out for quite some time. So Mikel is actually very right. You've got to be prepared. If you want to win the league, you've got to be prepared. Just imagine if Kevin De Bruyne had picked up that injury while the transfer market is closed. Where would Manchester City turn to? They wouldn't be able to sign Paqueta until January, and they wouldn't be able to sign Jeremy Doku until January as well. What would they do? Big questions, but no answers. But I agree with Mikel. On the number one, I think we will have a number one. We will have a number one. There's no question about that. I don't think we're going to have to see 40 games. Ramsdale takes 20 and Wright takes 20. It will be kind of disorganized. So I'm really hoping that we get a goalkeeper for the UCL and we get a goalkeeper for the EPL. Mikel knows better, but I don't see Arsenal gamble around between two goalkeepers all season. Eventually, we will settle on one. All right. Mikel Arteta on the team news ahead of the game, and also Alexander Zinchenko. On Alexander Zinchenko, he says Alex is doing very well. He's been training with us, and hopefully we're going to have him back and available very, very soon. On the other team news, he says no concerns now, not after the game. Gabriel is still not available and not fit, but the rest are all in good conditions. On Kai Havertz to start his Arsenal career, on Kai Havertz start on his Arsenal career, he says he fitted in really well. I think he played a really, really good game against Manchester City. He had two big chances to score, and he didn't. But everything he did, apart from those two chances, he was excellent. The other day as well, he played in two different positions throughout the game. Yeah, I hope people really saw that. One more as a number 8 and one more as a number 10. I'm really happy with what he's bringing to the team. His intensity, his mobility, his threat, and his understanding of the game and spaces as well. That sums up what I've been talking about Kai Havertz all the time. Space. On if he's satisfied with his defense, whether his defense is strong enough despite Jerian's injury. It says we didn't plan for this injury, so we have to assess now what the options are and the best way to get the best out of the players that we have. I cannot control anything that is not here. We are always open, and we have always been open to react if something happens, not only with an injury but with the market as well, and that's what we are going to do. We are going to react not only to the injury, but to the market as well. Get me Benjamin Pavard. There's some good ones as well, but Pavard, I like. Cancelo, I like. If we can get any of those two, I won't be surprised if Arsenal go and sign some guy called Wataru Endo. Yeah, it's kind of a dig at Liverpool, but I won't be surprised. But I would prefer Pavard Pavard and Cancelo to any other options, because I've seen them play and I know how good they are. Okay, like I could do a sporting director role just here. Okay, Mikel Arteta on the positives from the Forest win. He said the dominance of the game was good. The amount of times we played in the territory that we want to play in, the amount of chances that we created, and the few things that we conceded. We conceded a chance in the first half that was directly after the second ball. They hooked and they were through. Then they countered after a set play, with both coming from a goal kick and then one of them from the corner. But after that, nothing else. When you dominate a game as much as we did on that day, the situations you have, the final pass is still not neat enough or good enough to finish the actions better. That's what we have to do and improve on that. On being more clinical, it says we have to be. When you play games of that type, it has to finish 3, 4, 5. We didn't do it, and that's why the Premier League, and that's why in the Premier League, if you give something to the opponent, it's always going to be very, very unnerving of an ending. Unfortunately, on Bukayo Saka's development, it says I think he keeps growing year by year, and you set him new targets, and he sets himself new targets and new demands, and he seems to complete those as well. On the goalkeeping situation, it says when you have different goalkeepers, there were questions as well. To have two excellent goalkeepers, it is great. There is nothing wrong with that. We have two great left wingers and two great strikers and two great holding midfielders. We have Jorginho, Thomas and Declan, and that is not a problem. So having two goalkeepers is definitely not a problem, according to Mikel Arteta. On Mikel Arteta, on if he believes our strikers can score 20 plus goals a campaign, he says we haven't had that player, but we have managed to extremely be competitive without such a player. It seems the goals have to be shared around more, but nobody can sign a piece of paper that says this season a player will score 20, 25 or 30. We don't know. If somebody knows, please raise your hand. Martin Odegaard scored 15, and before he used to score 3 or 4. What we are going to do and what we're doing is working in the best way possible to encourage these players to understand there is no limit and they can be as good as they probably can be. So Mikel Arteta thinks that our players can actually score 20, 25 and 30. It doesn't need for us to sign a new striker. It needs for us to propel our strikers, our players, into getting those opportunities buried. And then he says a very interesting point that what did he say? Okay, what I wanted to react to is the Odegaard point, right? Is the Odegaard point when he says that Odegaard used to score 3, 4, 5. Now last season he scored 15, and goals are going to be shared around. I think that's a very interesting point, especially in the way we play. I don't think any of our strikers is a 20-goal machine. Maybe Jesus can give you 18. Look, he resembles Olivier Giroud. So, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with if goals are going to be shared. Trossard 15, Odegaard 15, Saka 15, Martinelli 15. That's around 60 goals. And then the rest of the team can actually give you that extra, 30. I'm okay with that. I don't know if I'm okay with that, but for now, I'm okay with that. See you right in the next one. Hit the like button for me. And of course, transfer editions upcoming.